Let's talk about how to actually beat Wall Street in the financial markets. And this is something we all think about because, well, we're pissed off. We're dealing with a lot of problems and Wall Street is sitting right next to them. For example, a major issue that we all gotta face is wealth inequality in this country. And not only in this country, but across the world. But at least in the US, it's very clear what's going on. You got a big institution like the Federal Reserve that is just destroying the dollar by printing. And because of their printing, asset prices are going crazy, which is what? Helping the rich and keeping the poor down. So that wealth inequality gap keeps growing and growing. And in response, we see a lot of social unrest, which is going to become greater and greater as this carries on. And even on a smaller scale in the markets, we see something happening with meme stocks like AMC. Massive short squeezes with people banding together and calling it the biggest wealth transfer ever. Basically, everyone's trying to stick it to Wall Street. But here's the thing, if you don't fight Wall Street correctly, they're going to end up destroying you and taking all your money just like they always have. And here's the hard truth. Wall Street, they always win. I know it sucks, but in order to beat them, you gotta accept some facts. We know how it works. Like, go back to 2008. The things that Wall Street did ended up screwing everybody and ruined the global economy. Why? Because of their greed, and it was unchecked. They wanted to inflate that asset bubble, and they didn't care who got screwed over in the process. And then at the end, what happened? Did a single person go to jail? Of course not, because that's not how it works, right? All you see is more bailouts. And we see bailouts all the time, right? For companies that don't deserve them, they still get them. The reality is that if you have money like these hedge funds and Wall Street does, then they're all tied up in politics. So there are a lot of laws that don't make sense, but Wall Street has them in favor for themselves. And how do they get it? Well, money, influence. If there's a law that they don't like, they just go change it. An even more concrete example is insider information. It happens all the time on Wall Street. They don't get in trouble for it, or very rarely do they. And even if they are charged for something, they walk away pretty much scot-free. And the thing about these white-collar criminals, which yes, we can call them criminals, is that they keep doing the same thing over and over again. They should be in jail, but if you don't put them in jail, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, I can do this again and again and again. Doesn't matter how many people they screw over, how much money they lose. And you know, if any of us did even 1% of what they do on Wall Street as individual investors, we'd be in jail right away. It's a messed up system. Even back when there was that GameStop squeeze, what happened? Some fund that owned some interest in another fund talked to Robinhood and they halted the shares. Is that fair? No, of course not. But again, where's the money flowing? It's just that Wu-Tang cream, cash rules everything around us, which is why Wall Street is able to take so much from us, because they had the money to do it. I'm sure you guys have seen Billions, the hedge fund drama on Showtime. Look at the tagline, leave them with nothing. Is anything they do in that show fair? Not really. And that's why even with these meme stock short squeezes, like as I'm recording this video, AMC is back at it. Those don't actually hurt Wall Street, and trying to fight them in that way will not work. That's where you end up losing money. Of course, some people are making money and it's awesome. And I love the idea behind it of trying to stick it to Wall Street, but it's putting yourself at risk, and at the end of the day, they do often come out on top. Maybe you caught them off guard the first time, but now if short squeezes keep happening, they understand it. They're smart. Even if they have unfair advantages in the way they make money, they still are pretty smart. So it's funny, I saw one of these tweets saying if hedge fund managers were smart, they would heavily short one stock over 100% short interest ratio, because that's what everyone is looking for, right? The Reddit mobs trying to stick it to Wall Street. Then hedge that 100% with a call option, let Reddit find out, then start covering your same short while driving up the price, and 10x your long position to the moon. It's not that complicated. The hedge funds for sure already figured it out. And here's Jim O'Shaughnessy, one of my favorite follows on Twitter. He's like, or maybe, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe some of those smart hedge fund managers have been in Reddit boards all along, and, probably crazy, but driving much more of this than anyone would think. Oh, and covering their tracks by supporting through sock puppet accounts the whole time. Again, not out of the question, and most likely happening. So you could think that you're fighting the good fight against Wall Street in these meme stock squeezes, but in fact, you're playing right into their game. And that's the sad truth. Most of what you try to do in this financial world plays right into their game. Just like when the brokerages started offering free trades. What does free really mean? What it means is that they're selling your order flow to hedge funds who are front running you now. So you're paying for it anyway. And in fact, you're likely paying more than if you would have just paid a commission. They've done the studies now. So once again, Wall Street comes out ahead. In anything in our financial system, Wall Street is going to win. It's a sad truth. The only hope is decentralized finance, which is the whole movement for blockchain and Bitcoin and all of that. Hopefully it works out, but we're not going to get into that discussion in this video, because what we want to talk about is what you do in our current financial system, because there's no guarantee of that new stuff replacing it. Most likely, as we've always had to do, we got to deal with Wall Street and all the advantages that they have. So how do you fight back? How do you still beat them? Well, the answer is that you just stop playing their game. Don't fight them head on. Play your own game. See, another truth apart from the hedge fund funds always win is that the financial markets are big enough that you don't even have to deal with them. So if they're going to win every game you play against them, just don't play. Play your own game. So one really simple example is not trying to be a day trader and trying to make money off of tiny movements in the market. Why? Because now you're competing against these hedge funds that have high frequency trading algorithms and huge servers that are plugged in right into the machine or into the exchange. And how are you supposed to win against that? If you focus on your own money, growing your own wealth, and detaching from what Wall Street is doing, you already won. So that example right there, don't be a short-term trader because the hedge funds got that swept up. Where they're not playing though is in the extended time frames. I'm talking more longer term investments over a few years, or even a swing trade strategy. Even that's better. On a lot of those extended time frames and longer term investments, you don't have to worry about Wall Street screwing things up because they're not there. And the thing is, you're actually in a good position a lot of the times by not being a hedge fund, because hedge funds have inefficiencies. Wall Street does. So for example, big funds, they can't invest in small companies. I'm talking like small cap stocks, nano cap stocks. But as an individual investor, you can do that because you don't have hundreds of millions to allocate. You can find these small companies that are ready to take off that these bigger funds can't invest in, and you could double and triple your money real quickly. Again, they can't play in that game, but you can. Another thing holding these Wall Street firms back is career risk. They work for someone at the end of the day, whether it's their client or their boss. You don't. You can do pretty much whatever you want. They can't. What I mean is that they're always running the risk of getting fired. So for example, if you're a hedge fund, even the best hedge fund managers, 1 year of underperformance, all their clients leave them. It sucks. I don't know how they deal with it. You, on the other hand, if you don't have any clients, then it's just you, right? So you could once again play that longer term game. Maybe you are down 1 year, but you know your investments or your system is solid. So you could look over a 5-year time span and be like, hey, I'm going to be way better off. Versus Wall Street, they got to look just this year. What do I do now so that I don't get fired, so I don't lose my job, so that I don't underperform? Again, it's just another way where you have an advantage and you can beat them. So if you focus on yourself instead of going against Wall Street, you're going to do way better. The only real way to fight them head on is through politics, which is not easy. You got to elect the right people in that are going to take a hard stance against them and not fall victim to corruption. But how often can you trust a politician? Good luck. Which is why I think you should stay in your own lane and not sacrifice your money trying to fight them head on, and just focus on building your own wealth. And that's the trick, and then they can't touch you. But when you try to fight them with things like short squeezes on meme stocks, you're going to run into trouble because they're still going to win in the end. And you actually see in this video right here why you will regret buying these meme stocks. Because it's not just that Wall Street will win. There are other reasons too that have nothing to do with making money. So if you've bought or are thinking about buying these meme stocks, even if you haven't, this is an important video to watch. So click this right here and I will see you there.